For 400 years, 80,000 Romans watched events in the Colosseum that history books describe in one paragraph. The reality of what happened inside that building was far more complex, and far stranger, than the movies showed you. As you walk through the ancient arches, you're following in the footsteps of Emperor Vespasian, who inaugurated the Colosseum on September 26, 80 AD, with a 100-day festival that included gladiator battles, animal hunts, and even a recreation of a famous sea battle. Can you imagine the roar of the crowd as the gates opened for the first time, and the smell of fresh stone and sweat filled the air? Before the Colosseum's construction began in 72 AD, Rome was a city of over 1 million people, with a growing middle class and a strong economy, but also with increasing social and economic tensions, as evidenced by the Roman historian Tacitus, who wrote about the growing discontent among the population. The Roman Empire was expanding rapidly, with territories in Europe, Asia, and Africa, and the city was a melting pot of cultures, as seen in the writings of the Roman poet Martial, who described the diverse population of Rome. As you explore the history of the Colosseum, you'll see how it was built on the site of an artificial lake, which was part of the Domus Aurea, a vast villa complex built by the Emperor Nero, who was known for his extravagance and tyranny. What role do you think the Colosseum played in distracting the Roman population from the problems of the empire, such as corruption, poverty, and inequality, which were highlighted by the Roman historian Suetonius? The main events held in the Colosseum were a testament to the engineering prowess of the ancient Romans, who could flood the arena in just a few hours to stage Naumachia, or naval battles, as described by the Roman historian Cassius Dio, who wrote about the construction of the Colosseum. On one occasion, in 89 AD, Emperor Domitian staged a Naumachia that featured a battle between the Romans and the Corbulo's troops, with over 3,000 sailors and 19,000 spectators, as recorded by the Roman historian Suetonius. You'll see how gladiators, who were often slaves or prisoners of war, were trained in specialized schools, known as ludus, and how they formed unions to protect their interests, as evidenced by the Roman historian Pliny the Elder, who wrote about the gladiatorial games. The most famous gladiators, such as Flamma and Verus, became celebrities, with their own fan bases and endorsement deals, as seen in the Roman graffiti and inscriptions that have been discovered. As the Roman Empire expanded, the Colosseum hosted animal hunts, known as venations, which drove many species to extinction, including the aurochs, a type of wild cattle, and the European lion, as documented by the Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder. Can you imagine the thrill and horror of watching a pride of lions being released into the arena, as described by the Roman poet Statius? The aftermath of the Colosseum's events had a profound impact on Roman society, as the games and spectacles became an integral part of the Roman calendar, with over 100 days of events per year, as recorded by the Roman historian Tacitus. The Colosseum became a tool for the emperors to control the population, by providing bread and circuses, as described by the Roman poet Juvenal, who wrote about the corruption and decadence of Roman society. The Roman Emperor Titus, who ruled from 79 to 81 AD, used the Colosseum to promote his own popularity, by staging lavish events and distributing free food and drink to the crowd, as evidenced by the Roman historian Suetonius. What do you think was the long-term effect of this strategy on the Roman Empire, which eventually fell to corruption and external pressures, as described by the Roman historian Edward Gibbon? As you leave the Colosseum, you're left with a lasting impression of the power and complexity of ancient Roman society, which was capable of building such an iconic structure, and yet, was also marked by cruelty, excess, and exploitation, as seen in the writings of the Roman historian Tacitus. Can the legacy of the Colosseum serve as a warning to modern societies, about the dangers of exploiting spectacle and entertainment to distract from the problems of the world, as argued by the Roman philosopher Seneca?